Ok, pour le...
Là, on est en live.
Mais bon, j'ai pas pu récolter même avec mes petits flyers. C'est pas
Est-ce que j'arrive à...
Est-ce que je peux essayer
Ouais. Oh non, elle a mis là. Well, let's do it here. Elle a mis en... Ah, ok. Bon, faisons-le. Ensemble. Regarde, on se plaint.
Ouais, mais attends, le son marche pas. Parce que
Oui, mais je
l'utilise.
oui,
Voilà.
Je marche. Allez, Ibrahim, viens à côté de moi. Viens à côté de moi. On va le faire comme si on était dans un petit studio. Join us here. We're going to try and do this live here on YouTube. So here we are in our mini studio on the stand. So last year, I had the information that from our teams, our BD team, our business development team, that we'd had 1 billion packs of dolutegravir had been distributed in low middle income countries. And I thought, well, that's a milestone that we couldn't miss. It was something that's a story to be told. And of course, where did these packs go? They went to communities and they went to the people who obviously needed to take these medicines. So last September, I decided that, we needed to tell this story. And it started, I started off in Chennai in India, where I traveled to meet our teams over there, and that was actually Mercy, and I think some of you know her well. And I went to Chennai, we met with the transgender community, we met people living in India. And as I went from place to place, and then I went to New Delhi, and then on to South Africa, and then Sophie went to Senegal for you, and we ended up in Cameroon as well, and Zimbabwe along the way. One of the things that came across, and like, for example, when I was out in Chennai talking to different people, the medicine was one thing, but people's lives really touched me. And it was those lives, I think, for me, from doing the film, that I recall, and the messages that came across. And if we start even with those first interviews down out in India with the transgender, these are people who are thrown out of their homes, who have to fend for themselves, who have to find a new community to accept them. They're dealing daily with stigma and discrimination. They are vulnerable. They have nothing to eat, so sex work is kind of the only work that will actually give them money to eat, and they put themselves at risk. But they are beautiful people whose messages I wanted to capture, and that's what I did through some of the films. Moving along, and I know when I was with you, Nambeko, that the story of your neighbor who didn't want to go to the new treatment because she knew that you don't want to do that. We've heard of the weight gain. We've heard of lots of different and one, of course, from Kenya was the treatment fatigue, not wanting to take just that one pill, knowing it's sitting there in the kitchen waiting to be taken, knowing it takes 30 seconds to do, but having something inside that says, I just don't want to do it today. And those were the messages that came to me, and I know you too, in your communities, you have them too. So I thought, having you were in the film, you gave me some of those, and I feel very privileged that we actually were able to have these discussions and talk to people. And yes, we captured what was on camera, but there was a whole other side off camera that happened talking with you, and I thought this is an opportunity to talk together. And I see maybe I can I know you both have to rush off, so I don't know between the two of you, and you can talk in French too, because we can translate as well. I know you understand English perfectly, but again, and I've got Yao here with us too, who wasn't in the film, but he can associate with some of these messages that came across. So let's start with the ladies first then, and then her beautiful hat that Nambeko is wearing, that was crocheted, you said, by Yvette. She was a great job. So over to you, maybe to you, to give what you work with people every day, you live yourself with HIV. Well, what more would you like to add for when you start reflecting on some of the questions that I asked you last year?
Good morning, colleagues. Working with people in the communities is more than communicating the issues of access to medicines, because one knows that there is medication. They don't know the issues of hustle that we go through, making sure that there are medicines in the counters of the clinics. And also, the nurses, the healthcare workers in those clinics that they attend to, don't know and understand the complexities that go with making sure that they are able to assist the patients who come to reach out to the clinics. And that not being communicated makes it easy for one to easily say, I don't want to go to the clinic, I don't want to take medication. And then we just sit down as an activist in me, knowing how difficult it is to make sure that there is clean and clear access to treatment. It saddens. And then we are making sure that we engage with communities, we negotiate with communities and making sure that they do understand. But the trick is taking medicines for people who have got more other demanding, pressing issues is another story. I work with people who would say, I have nothing to eat. I haven't had food for a week. And you just sit and wonder, how does this person survive? And then talking to young, like adolescent persons who have been born with HIV, who do not have parents, and who depend on family members for survival. And we know how broken families get to be as we grow. It's no longer the same. If my aunt was able to assist me when I was desperate and needy of things, it doesn't work like that now, because governments have introduced the issues of grant, and because that has been introduced, it's misused in a wrong way and not caring off for those people. So you find many young people unable to go to the clinics, unable to access their medicines, even though we do have treatment. So when we talk about the issues of treatment, the issues of access to medicines, the issues of living with HIV, we don't only talk about HIV. We address the social behavioral issues, we address structural issues, we address the economic issues, because it doesn't go alone. And then there's also education, because young people need to be educated. They need to be able to go to school without thinking of, what am I going to eat after taking treatment? You saw me when I was testing the medicine yesterday. I quickly wanted something down my throat. And you can imagine when you've got to go to do that all the day. And then after doing that, you know that there's nothing to take. And then it becomes another issue. So in many countries, I don't want to say in Africa, because in India it's the same. In other countries that I'm not aware of, it is the same. When we're addressing the issues of access to treatment, we need to equalize and balance the education and information about that around the economic issues, because that's what the communities are battling with. Of course, it's easy for me to take my meds because I am employed. I'm able to access my meds. And the worst part is I'm able, like my last clinic visit was supposed to be on the 18th. I missed it, but I got my meds because I'm connected. I had a huge event in my workplace. It was 18th July. And then I asked the clinic manager, because I've got the information of how to get hold of him. And I was like, okay, please make sure that my medicines is delivered. Not everybody has got that access. So when we work with communities, we need to be cognizant that we're working with people who've got more other challenges, taking meds, and people don't want to take meds. You'll agree with me, in the areas where they stay. And they're supposed to, because it's easy to travel, but they don't want to be known. And we think that it's 2024. We're no longer talking about the issues of stigma. And we do. When we're doing the documentary, I still can't even show it to my kids, because it's got a story that is not supposed to be told, because the person who's sharing there is in my street, and I don't want him to be exposed to my kids, because they will know, even though they might not spread the news. But I need to protect that person. So the issue of stigma, you can just understand, like he made it very clear that this is the first time I'm talking about it. It's only my family, and now this one who knows about my status. So that is another story. 2024 being there, that's where we are.
to you then. How do you react to what Rebecca is saying from a Senegalese? And please feel free to answer in French. Hein? Alors, la question, elle est un peu pareille. Elle parle là du fait que la stigmatisation arrive encore, l'éducation manque, qu'on a quand même le côté mental qu'il faut aussi adresser, parce que pourquoi je devrais faire ceci ou cela, et comment on a fait pour le mental. Et je sais que là, quand on était sur le stand de la France, ils ont pas mal parlé du fait que les gens n'ont pas l'argent pour aller acheter à manger. L'accès au traitement, ça devient un deuxième problème. Le premier problème, c'est d'abord de manger. Donc, par rapport à ça, dans le contexte, le traitement est bien là. Et ensuite, qu'est-ce qu'on a besoin de plus? Et sur